It is July 1939 and Germany is at war, and victory follows them on all fronts. In the east, Germany has managed to reconquer territory lost to it after the Great War when it was forced to surrender West Poland to the new state of Poland. But now German armed forces occupy Warsaw, and with the USSR invasion of the east, Poland is no more. In the west, German armed forces have managed to push the Maginot Line, taking some casualties, and managed to encircle the cities of Paris. This is despite the fears that the German forces had of the territory of Aquitaine, bristling with fortifications and armored units. But yet, despite this impediment, Germany has managed to force the nation of France to surrender. Vichy France is the new administration, and it resides in southern France. Almost the entire navy has joined Vichy France, with only reports of one submarine squadron joining what is now called as the Free French, the French rebels in Central and Southern Africa. Everywhere else has joined Vichy France. Western Africa is entirely in Vichy France, with only, as I said, Madagascar and Central Africa and Syria joining the rebel forces. The Far East has joined the Japanese cause. They see the light and have decided that they would be under better administration under the Japanese. And yet, Germany is not victorious completely yet. Britain still resides as its primary enemy, and Britain is across the water, and Britain is daringly raided the French coastline, dropping troops off in Normandy, Picardy, and Alsace-Lorraine, capturing territory worth a certain amount of industrial production points, and Germany must take it back. This might prove to be a long war. Welcome all to Global War 1936 version 4. We're looking at Operation Dark Horizon with the German turn 7.1 for July 1939. So, as you know, I like to share a bit of a timestamp to increase the legitimacy of my video. It is 10:37 p.m. The kiddies are in bed, and it's now time for me to make my video. As you know, I like to also save my tech rolls to the end of the turn, if possible. I know when it comes to the last stages, then I'm going to do them at the start. But right now, I'm going to save them for the end because it just seems to be the right thing to do. It's a critical dice roll. I try to save it. From $60, we rated for $3, and now that leaves us with 57. We buy 2 naval transports and 1 Vichy naval transport to lend lease to them, 2 Marines, 1 sub, 2 infantry, 1 German militia, 1 German airborne, 1 medium bomber, and 1 free division that we get. That is a total of 57. Let's get on with our combat moves. From C-Zone A48, we're sending a submarine to A53 to do a convoy raiding against the West Africa line. From C-Zone A32, we're sending a submarine, and it's going across to A28 to engage the convoy line. And from home waters in A11, we're sending a submarine around Scotland to A20. We also have seen this this British battle cruiser raiding in A5, raiding our Swedish iron, and we need to engage it in combat. So from Western Germany, we're sending a medium bomber, a seaplane. From A11, we're sending in a coastal sub to A5, as well as a torpedo boat destroyer from the harbor in A12. It's coming up there as well. Hopefully this gives us enough detection to try to detect that battle cruiser and destroy it. All right. We have also decided to take back some French territory. So from Switzerland, 1 cavalry is coming up to Alsace-Lorraine. And from Paris, we are sending in 2 medium armor, 1 light armor, and a self-propelled artillery. From Western Germany, as the aircraft is on its way to Paris, it decides to bypass or to go through Alsace-Lorraine and assist them in that combat as well. From Paris, we're sending 5 units to Normandy, 3 medium armor, self-propelled artillery, as well as an airborne unit that's walking across there. These guys hope to blitz into Picardy on the subsequent phase. So we have decided also that Yugoslavia used to be formerly part of Austria-Hungary, and since both those two nations have now aligned with the great German state, it is time for us to reacquire territory lost to them. But the Yugoslavians have refused to surrender the coastline, which we need to access the oceans for our Austro-Hungarian states. And so therefore we must go to war against them as well. From Hungary, we're sending in a fighter as well as 2 infantry, all the Hungarian forces, into eastern Yugoslavia. Kind of a weak attack. From Western Germany, we're sending in an airborne unit and an air transport is coming down there as well. And from Bavaria, going straight across Austria, we're sending in 5 cavalry units, as well as from Slovakia, we're sending in 2 fighters. From Western Germany, we are also sending in a tactical bomber. So that's what's going on to there. Kind of an overkill on this territory, but we want to keep those aircraft within decent range for further operations. And that takes care of all of our combat moves. Let's start doing some convoy raiding, starting with A53. So here we go. Red is always going to be my attacker. Let's see what the results are. We've hit them for 3 damage, so that's maxed out this convoy line. 1, 2, 3. Let's delete this. Now we go to A28, I believe, the Atlantic line, which is off the coast of the Bay of Biscay. I see there's a little blue dice tucked in there. So this hits us up for maximum damage. That looks like it's something like 7, 8. Yeah, that'll be 6 damage on this convoy line. Quite hefty. Yep, that's going to hurt them quite a bit, I'd imagine. And lastly, we have here an A20. We're going a Europe-America line for 1 convoy raid. Let's see what the results are. Okay, this one we missed completely, so that's lucky on them. Now we're going to go for our North Atlantic line in A5. We have 2 aircraft here, both giving us a +4 to detection, and his battlecruiser gets a +8 in detection. So we're looking at a detection of basically just +1 to our advantage. So very minor chances. We're going to use a white as our dastardly British forces and a black for our German Navy. Let's see what the results are. We need to at least get 1 more point than they do so as to detect them. And we have with 7 to 4. So we've detected their battle cruiser. Now we bring it into combat. So I've lined up some of the combat down here. Let's start with that battle cruiser if I could find out where it is. Is it this one? Yes, it is this one. Okay, so we have 3 dice here. First of all, we have our coastal sub is rolling out a 2. Let's see what the results are. We need a 2 or less to succeed in our... Oh, there we go. Battle over. That battle cruiser is gone. Just in case you need to take a look here, it's a 1. We've managed to sink his battleship. Battle cruiser. I want to say battleship. Without any responses to the dice roll. So, interesting thing about raiding, I think it's... Yeah, in some ways it can be quickly ended. All the joy and excitement can be quickly ended. So that fight is concluded with this battle cruiser is off the map. Alright, next up we are going to go into this French territory. So again, this is overkill, but we've lined up our attack in Alsace-Lorraine, which should be something like... Nope, that's somewhere else. Should be this one right here. So we have a first strike at 3 using our red dice from our self-propelled artillery. A 2. So just to reiterate, this is this combat here. His airborne unit would be rolling out a 2. We've managed to take him out. Done. Next up we have this fight here, and this is against his... Hold on. Is that the right fight? Oh yeah, okay. This is in Normandy, where we have our airborne marching in, and he has an infantry right there as well. So we have a self-propelled artillery, again, rolling out a 3 or less. Let's see if we can be lucky once again. Almost, but not quite. Alright, so he does get to respond with 1 dice roll. Let's see if we can take him out. Oh, we got him. And on his end, he missed. So we've hit him for 1. Let's double check that. Yeah, this is for our orange here. Orange and white. So we got him for 2 hits there. Nice. And lastly, we have this, or not lastly, we have 1 more fight here, and this is in Picardy. So let me just adjust the map here so that we can see what we're looking at. We have these forces are coming north here to this territory, and then they're turning around and going across this river to go fight in Picardy. Now this airborne unit is not going to be able to join. I'm not going to leave any of my forces behind because I don't want them to be sniped by the enemy. So that's what's going on there. I'm going to flip that for now. Okay, and this fighter can actually participate in the additional combat as well, because 1, 2, 3, 4 if I want to land them there. So we're going in a whole hog. This cavalry is staying here because it cannot blitz. So that's something worth noting. We got 2 self-propelled artillery being able to roll first. Let's see if we can really do some damage where it doesn't cost us anything to take them out. We need 1 hit is all. Miss. Alright. Now there's still hope for us. We might still be able to... I'm missing 1 orange dice here. Ah, shoot. So because I have 5 medium armor and the 1 fighter, so that should bring us to a total of 6. Ah! Let's delete all that. Alright. And let's roll for his as well. So, do we have the hits? We have plenty of hits. And he missed. So, we have managed to hit him a couple times. Yeah, a bunch of times. Almost everything. And he's got a 7 on his end of things. So, we've managed to take over France without any additional casualties. That's quite lovely. And let's see what that end result is. We'll have to organize this a little bit later. I'm probably going to have to use a little task force marker to mark all this stuff. But for right now, I'm going to just pile them up. I'm just going to pile them up in a very undignified way. I think that's a smart thing to do. We'll delete that one as well. Okay, good enough. this fighter is going to move in non-combat. Okay, so we only have 2 more combats left occurring. I'm worried about the Eastern Yugoslavia. That's the most critical critical battle. So I'm going to do Western Yugoslavia first, just because, just to ratchet up the crescendo of tension, let's say. So here we have this combat. We have all our dice here. No first strikes on our end. His cavalry and militia are rolling at 2. His infantry at 4. All my stuff is in the mountains at 2. All my cavalry, aircraft are at 6, and tactical at 7. So we have target selection on our orange dice. Apart from that, it's pretty a straightforward battle. So we have managed to do some damage here, with 3 hits on the first round. 1 via tactical bomber and 1 without. So on his end of things, goodness gracious, this is quite something. Let me just share a timestamp again, because whenever things go quite well, it makes me pretty nervous. But yeah, there has been no negativity right now. So yeah, wild. The dice seem to love me in this first few phases, but I've hit them 3 times. Just you wait, once I get to my tech rolls, it's going to really suck. Okay, there you have it. There's my 3 hits. One of them is the target selection. It shouldn't really matter too much because he's already into his higher level stuff already. So this Yugoslavian forces, they're right there. And now we're looking at one of his versus one of my, versus all of mine, I guess. Okay, he will likely score a hit now. It's only probability at this point. We've hit him once, twice, so that's that. And he's got an 11 on this end of things, so yeah, that's 11, yeah. So he's out of the game, Yugoslavia. There we have it. No hits on me. We're looking at the other battle now. In Eastern Yugoslavia, we have 2 infantry rolling at 1 in the mountains, and 1 airborne rolling at a 2, so quite bad odds. And then 1 fighter at 6. He's got 1 at 4 and 2 at 2, so really not the greatest of odds. If there's any fight that I might lose, this might be the one. This is the one where it could really start to hurt. Okay, we have 1 from this dice. The orange is our fighter. And everything else is a miss. This is a 9, 5, 11. On his end of things, we're looking at a 6, and an 8. Yeah, you guys see that here? It's a 6. Okay, you don't see it, but it says a 6 on there, right? I don't know if you see that little number, but that is a 6. That is a 6 as well. Almost looks like a 2, but it says it's a 6. So missed on all fronts. So far, so good. We take off one of their units and we continue on to the next round. So we'll take off the militia and move on to round 2. Now, because this is round 2, I suspect my airborne goes down to 1. I think this is no longer hit. So I have 3 at 1 and 1 at 6. So pretty bad odds. Let's see if we can, despite all that, still succeed. Oops, one of the blues not counting. Ah, shoot, that's bad. Okay, so I have 1 at 2, and everything else missed. So I have, I guess, 2 hits so far. Now you see here, I forgot to remove one of the blue dice. Yep, I forgot to remove one of the blue dice. So I think what would be right in this circumstance, I think it would be most honorable just to take off one of my units. I think that would be the... You know, I've had pretty great luck, so I think it would be most honorable just to take off my dice and say, like, look, fluke, I shouldn't have done that. The only alternative is I roll a dice, I roll another dice. Let's say I roll, I don't know, let's say I roll this red dice right here. If the red dice is 7 and up, you know, exactly 50%, that'll be that one. If it's below, 6 and down, that'll be the 1. Does that make sense to everybody? Does that seem like a fair solution? So let me know if that's fair. That way, one of those results is kept. Either that or I just re-roll the whole combat. It's a 1. So yeah, fate would have it that I'm destined to take off one of my hits, which is perfectly fair, understandable. I'm going to take off one of my infantry. I mean, I'm not going to begrudge a hit because I've been so lucky already so far. So we're looking at only one of his hits now versus one of mine, because I scored another hit with my aircraft. So we're looking at only his infantry rolling versus 3 dice on my end of things. I usually do calculate my battles beforehand, so they usually aren't lost causes. This one says it's a 6, this one says it's a 3, and this one says it's a 9. So again, this is one of those ones where, well, yeah, I guess my fighter is a 6 anyway, so 6 or 2, we have 1 hit, so that's all we needed. So we've succeeded in this combat as well. We've taken out all the territories that we wanted to. All our objectives are taken out with minimal casualties on all fronts. I mean, somewhat surprising how well it went. So let's move on to the non-combat. I feel like I should apologize, but let me just, instead of apology, share a timestamp with the time over here. So Okay, so let's take a look at territories and non-combats, I guess. So non-combat, we have this fighter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It lands in Paris. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Yeah, that's what I'll do. These guys get to stay over here in this massive pile. The aircraft from here, so let's see, from Slovakia, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 fighters land back here. From the tactical bomber came from Western Germany, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It lands over here in Bavaria. And the Hungarian fighter went 1, 2, 3, 4 and lands back here in Bavaria. And this transport plane came 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It should be able to land back here. And that about does it for non-combat moving air. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to delete these guys. And I did suffer 1 hit here on my infantry, so I'll delete him as well. The rest of the cavalry all survived. If memory serves, they all survived without any casualties. Yep, surprisingly. Okay, good stuff all around. I mean, great luck I've had. I feel like I might just be hoovering it up from everybody else. Okay, so that is that. What about naval stuff? Do I have any naval stuff to move? Well, I guess I have these guys. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It can land back here. And likewise, my seaplane can land back here as well, if memory serves. So that leaves my torpedo boat destroyer somewhat dangerously exposed. And what else? We're going to non-combat move this infantry up to here. Yep, that seems good. And we're going to move this German destroyer to this side, to this port over here. Yep. And we're going to non-combat move this guy down to Bavaria. And this guy, sorry, this guy. So we're moving a destroyer from C-Zone A12 in port to C-Zone A11 in port. From Berlin, we're moving our blue division, an infantry division, to Bavaria. From Slovakia, we're moving our infantry to Austria. We are going to non-combat move from Warsaw, 1, 2, 3 to Eastern Germany, our cavalry. Moving 2 spaces, not 3, just 3 cavalry moving. 1 motorized is going to haul 1 artillery to that position as well. We are going to rail an artillery and 3 infantry to Western Germany too, leaving Warsaw with only 1 anti-aircraft gun. And I believe that should about do all our non-combat moves. The only exception that niggles my brain is down here in C-Zone P63. So this battlecruiser is going on to raiding mode. I forgot to do that in the combat move phase. I hope that's acceptable. And we're going to move this entire fleet. We're going to go 1, 2, 3 to C-Zone I9. Yes, I believe to I9. That seems about right. I'm kind of shifty on this one. Not sure exactly what to do because we want to stay out of range of his ships here too. So that's kind of what I think we'll do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 versus my battlecruiser of +2. So maybe I could survive that fight. I'm not really too sure. But that's where we'll go anyways. And that about does it, I think, on all fronts. Okay, let's get on to the place unit phase. So the way I read the rules, let me just show you guys what I was reading here. You can do your place unit phase in any order, including make income rolls. And another thing I've noticed is with Romania, you can annex Romania, at the place unit phase. So I could do it. I could do it at any point. So I could roll for Romania first, as well as my other dudes over here, my Spain, as well as the Vichy as well. So that's kind of cool. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to roll these 3 dice for the recruitment roll for my nations here. Pink being Spain, blue being France, and orange being the Romanians. I think I need a 1 for both Romania as well as France. So the only one that succeeded is my Spanish dudes. So we've got extra unit to place on the map. We're going to say we're going to put in an infantry. An infantry is going down in Galicia and Leon. So that's what's going on there. The other 2 missed, and now we're going to align Romania on our turn. So let's count up the income we've gained. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've gone up by $10, and the British have gone down by 5. So we are sitting at 34. That takes us to 44, and the Brits have gone down to 25. That's what's going on there. I believe that's it. I really do believe that's it. Okay, so let's go on to place units, and then lastly I will roll for tech. So I'm going to put my 2 transports and my sub up north. You know what, I'm going to just see if I can grab all this. No, let's lock this guy down. Got one more thing to lock down. I'm going to just carry all this north to its appropriate location. Somewhere in appropriate location. Boom. Okay, we're going to put these 2 naval units, 2 naval marines that we got, we're going to put them in Western Germany. We're going to put 1 infantry in Warsaw, 1 infantry in Paris. We're going to put our militia into Aquitaine. We're going to put our airborne into Bavaria. We're going to put our medium bomber into, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. And our submarine, so how many do we put down? 1, 2, yeah, we put down 1, 2, 3, 4. Our submarine I'd like to put down here, so 5. And so that means, well, actually, I don't know if there's a limit to factories here, if I could put more here or not, because I'm putting on 5 land units. So I'd like to put that medium bomber here. If it can't go here, I'll put it down into Bavaria as well. But my thinking is, it should work, because I don't think you need to be tied your shipyards to your factories. You just need to have a railway connection. So I could build a bunch of ships there, and it should still work out. So that's my thinking on that regards, what I'll place there. And then I still have the Vichy unit, and it's going to go into port over here. Yeah, that is the scoop. That is all. Yeah, that's it. That's all. And that ends up being all of it. Yeah, our blue division, did it show up anywhere? No, blue division shows up in Berlin, and that should take care of all our fine little details of placement. Now let's go on to the collect income phase and our tech roll. Let's do techs first. So we have 4 techs we're pursuing: advanced mechanized, improved construction, jet fighters, and advanced subs. I'd like long-range aircraft, but some of this stuff that's unit-based are a little bit harder to get, so that's what I'm aiming for. So I only got 1 hit, and that is advanced mech. So that's yeah, that's some of my luck coming out. All right, so advanced mech, we move up to the next stage, and that will mean that I get to correct this. Now, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I have been keeping track of all the units, all the dice rolls so far. I'll go over that later on, but let's go into collect income phase, and then that will end our turn. So we have 44, plus we gain 4 for Vichy, so that's 48, plus we gain 5 for the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, so that brings us up to 53, I believe. $53. $53 plus Sweden, so $56. So by my calculations, we are at $56 to spend on the next turn. And that should do it, guys. So if you're interested in some more of the stats and data stuff, stick around to watch that. Otherwise, see you on the next one. And see you on, well, Sky Marshal's channel is next. See you there. Okay, so those of you who stayed who are interested, German tech successes versus failures. I'm slightly ahead of the curve. I have 14 successes to 13 failures. The Soviets are, 0 for 1. Japan is 4 for 7, so, below the curve. The British are decently above the curve. The French were decently below. The Italians are doing quite fantastically, and USA did quite poorly, just for fun. I'm going to keep tabs on this as things roll out during the entire game, but on average, should look like you're a little bit weaker on the successes and more. You should have more failures than successes on an average game. So I'm ahead of the curve a little bit. Next, we have some of the battles that we've looked at. So the convoy war, I'll update, but so far German losses have been 3 IPP lost. Now that will change now because we get to update it for 3 lost here plus 6 there. So we're looking at a total of an additional 9. Hold on. So we can say that we lost an additional $14. So they're looking at 28 Commonwealth losses. Yeah, 28 Commonwealth losses, and we should put in here 14 convoy. Convoy. With no losses on our end so far, or nothing too significant anyways. Alright, let's take a look at the invasion of France. The French suffered 32 German losses, 4 mechs, 1 light armor, 3 infantry, 1 cavalry. The French suffered 41 losses in the attack. So that's actually not a bad exchange, considering the defensive forces usually have the disadvantage. The French had to surrender this much stuff, right? And that's how much the value of the stuff that they've surrendered. That's not horrible. You know, it's usually going to be about 50-50, so this is roughly within that range. So not bad for the invasion of France on the German side of things, and considering most games. Invasion of Switzerland has been quite successful as well, but we did lose a little bit. And again, it's generally going to be the attacker will have the advantage, so we lost 3 units there in exchange for their 4 units. That wasn't as good. Then we have over here the invasion of Poland. We got hugely successful with only 3 casualties to their stacks of casualties. Now part of that's because I really front loaded a lot of the weight, and I made sure I'd win a lot of the battles I went into with, you know, aircraft and that kind of thing, so they didn't have much chance, but they actually did roll poorly. And here of course we also have the Spanish Civil War with the adjusted losses there, so it's fairly well within track. The only big one that's been outside the curve as far as I'm concerned is the invasion of Poland. Everything else has been fairly average. The convoy war so far is going in our favor. Once they get their radar and anti-sub warfare, that will change around there as well. Battle cruisers is always a bit of a risk using them, especially I think the British in nearby any kind of coastal areas is a bit risky too. I was a bit surprised he was that close. I mean, if he went to sea zone A8, you know, that's a good bit further away, and there'd be not much I could do in there. The thing I see is that he's going to come in here and take out my torpedo boat destroyer, which will rack up my convoy losses as well there too. So I'm going to value this at, let's say, 4 IPP kind of thing. So it's not a bad exchange so far. And that's about it. You know, that's about all that goes in there. The British rating here, I'm probably going to keep track of that just for the fun of it as well, and just lump that into like a larger battle idea of what it is. And just see how that goes, just for the fun of it. Yugoslavians were very one-sided. I was very surprised at how well that went. I definitely didn't expect to be as successful as I was. All right, so that's about it for a little bit of update behind the scenes of how things look. Yeah, I believe that's it. So I'm going to share a timestamp here right at the end. 10:05 p.m. That's it, everybody. Thank you all for watching. Cheers.